you grind, you claws, you howl, you growl, and afraid of
Okay.
Actually, don't put that in. You don't put it in.
Mid-July, Lingo says, Christian gets home from his mission in September, so you really need to go out on a date with him before you leave on your mission. She's like, it'll be perfect because it'll be love at first sight. Then like you'll date for a month, you'll leave on your mission, and you'll come home, you'll get married. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Like, I wish it was that easy.
I had my homecoming that Sunday, and so I went to church, and it was good to see a lot of family and friends, and I saw Lauren, my cousin, and I recognized Lauren Heaton. And so I remember I was like, hey, I said hi to him. Didn't know how to talk to girls, but it was my cousin, so.
And so then we went to his homecoming, and he just was like, just as cute as ever. And like, I just thought that like when he was talking, like I don't know, like Christian just has like a really neat light about him that's like really contagious, and so I was just immediately hooked. And so that's when I leaned over to Lingo and I said, well, I guess I better write in my journal about the day that I attended my future husband's homecoming. And I thought she would laugh, but she just looked at me and she's like, no, seriously.
She came up afterwards, and when everyone was saying hi, and she said that, Lauren Heaton, she said that she had a mission call and she was way excited and that I did a good job, and she was even more excited to leave. And obviously I thought she was a way cute girl, and I thought it was even cuter that she was going to serve a mission. So when I found that out, I was attracted more to her, but at the same time I knew she was leaving, so I wasn't trying to date her or anything, I guess.
That night, Lingo and I had a sleepover, and the next morning I wake up to her just freaking out, and she's like, Christian just texted me and asked me for your number, and so we were both just having like this little giddy girl moment. And so I was like, okay, should I text him, or like should I wait a day, like, I don't know.
So we would always kind of just hang out with my cousin Lauren, and they'd come over to my house and we'd hang out with my family. And then as the time started getting cut short and Lauren was gonna go sooner and sooner, then I think we both kind of wanted to start hanging out more alone.
I actually like made the move because I was like, he never like would tell me how he felt, and so I was like, okay, well, let's like go stargazing or something. And we like drove up on this cliff like up in Centerville, and I like brought 2 camping chairs because I didn't know if like he was okay like cuddling or whatever. Like he had just barely gotten home, and so I like brought 2 camping chairs, like 2 blankets, and we just like sat there and we just talked.
And so we got up there, and she had gotten some chocolate shakes at In-N-Out, which I thought was way cool. So we just sat down, and I didn't know how to talk to a girl, so we were really just in 2 separate chairs talking.
And we just talked about like his mission, and he was asking me like, what made you want to go on a mission, and then I think that's when I knew like, okay, like this guy's really cool, and like I can connect with him like on an emotional level, and I just felt like safe with him.
Hung out a few times, and I think she had a week or 2 before she was supposed to leave, and so I had been home probably 5 or 6 weeks from the mission and was terrified to kiss girls.
We were watching Tangled, and which put me in front of a Disney movie, and I'm just like a little girl, so I was just totally oblivious. And then like after the movie, I think the movie actually replayed like twice.
And so when watching the movie, 1, I didn't know what she was thinking or if she even wanted to, and 2, I just didn't know if I knew how. And so I was just a nervous wreck the whole movie.
And then we were just kind of like sitting there talking, like, just like when you're like, okay, the kiss is coming, But I like didn't have that feeling. I was totally oblivious. I did not think he was gonna kiss me.
And finally, I was just thinking I guess I should just do it, and because I'm gonna go home anyway, so I leaned over and kissed her, and
then like it's like he kissed me, and I was like, it was just so good.
I loved it.
Know that we can do anything. Go drown
Told her I came home from hanging out with him one night, and she was at my house. I said, Lingo, like if he asked me to stay, I would stay, like in a heartbeat. But I don't know if I have the guts to like stay home, you know.
I remember I went to her farewell, and it was such an amazing talk and such an amazing spirit, but at the same time my stomach was sick, and I just didn't want her to leave, and I knew it was going to be harder than I ever imagined to see her go. And so that whole day we spent with each other, and then
that night we were sitting like in a love seat in my living room, just like talking with my family, and I asked him to like tickle my back.
I started scratching her back, and I think I wrote on her back, maybe because I was too scared to tell her or whatever, I wrote with my finger that I loved her.
And I just remember like I like turned at him, I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, like, you know, he was like, of course I do, you know. And then that night, like saying bye to him was hard, because this was a Sunday and I'm leaving in 2 days on Wednesday, and I was like, how am I gonna like tell him goodbye, you know?
So I talked to my parents, and then I called her and asked her to come over the day before she was supposed to get set apart. And
as soon as I get there, like I could just tell that something was on his mind, and he's like, well, let's go upstairs and talk. And that's when he, you know, like told me he loved me, and he was just saying like, I just don't know how I'm gonna let you leave, and like I'm gonna miss you so much. And so he's just saying all this, and like, you're just making it harder. And then he just said like, you know, I talked to my dad, and what if you stayed? You know, what if you stayed and just kind of postponed it so that we could date but not have a deadline to see if like there really is something. And like without hesitation, I was like, absolutely, you know, like I'm staying home like for you. Christian is the most Christ-like person I've ever met, and he has like the biggest heart. By his example, like I just want to be so much better, not only for him, just but for myself.
Lauren, for me, is just, she's full of all the qualities I've ever dreamed of. So what she is and what she wants to be, I love. And you know, what she makes me want to be is everything I've ever dreamed of.
I always joke like with his family about his calves, because Christian has like really nice calves, and I guess they call them like cantaloupe calves.
She's so gorgeous inside and out, but I love her smile, and I guess it's her energy that she has and her happiness that she always shows.
I don't know, he's just handsome. I don't like everything about him. I'm like blushing talking about him, but. Well, like for the moment that I stayed home, I knew I wanted to marry Christian. And I knew I wanted to marry him like the second time I hung out with him. And so like I felt like I was waiting for the proposal like since October.
So we went up to Park City at a lodge, and my brother and sister-in-law had decorated a room, and I had planned it out with them what we were gonna do and had it down, but I was still nervous.
We're walking down this hallway, and like there's this room that has like side panel glass, and I can see in the room that there's like candles and like rose petals and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is it, you know? And then there was a sign on the door that said reserved for Park City High School, and so I was like, you have got to be kidding me, like, you know. So I just got punked. And so then Christian starts walking into the door, and I'm like, don't go in there, like it's reserved.
We went into the room, and I had some roses laying around with different parts of a letter, and
there's just like candles everywhere, and like you know, like paper hearts like strung from the ceiling, and there's like rose petals, and he brought me to like, there's like this table and there's like this letter, and so he opens up the letter and it says, you know, "Dear Lauren, I can't believe how much I've fallen for you and how amazing this journey has been."
And so we went around the room and I read parts of the letter, and I don't think we got through all 12 until we got to the last one on the fireplace mantle, which had the ring. And so I read that part of the letter that ended it and telling her that I wanted to spend my whole life with her in eternity and how much I loved her. I got down on one knee. I'm pretty sure I was crying, and asked her to marry me, and she said yes.
So I was completely shocked, but I was so happy. I've never been happier than that moment. So.
Many of the songs I've sung, it's just the story of our life. We wish we had this, yes. Oh,
I just like thinking about marrying Christian is the most like comforting, confident, like inspiring, like the most joy I've ever felt in my life, knowing that like he's the person that I'm going to be with like for eternity.
I knew she was the one for me forever. All I've wanted to do is take her to the temple and get married and sealed and start forever with her. So
it's the best feeling ever to know that like I'm going to be with somebody forever that wants to be with me just as much.
I just want to race to the finish line with her and spend forever.
I